In our last tutorial, we dived deep into the fascination life cycle of a bull market, exploring its journey from its birth to its eventual dismiss. We even touched upon the insightful words of legendary investor John Templeton, who famously stated, "Bull markets are born of pessimism, grown on skepticism, matured on optimism, and die on euphoria." And guess what? We witnessed all the four stages since the turbulent crisis of 2007 and 8, and what is about to unfold in the coming months or maybe years to come. Now, this bull statement he made is so profound and very useful, and I came up with this bear statement. A bear market starts with greed, followed by confusion, sell on fear, and ends with hopelessness. And today we will be discussing how to apply this bear progression using the example of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. And after this tutorial, go ahead to practice this observation in all the markets and other time frames from its weekly to its minutes chart. It should work for you. But before we get into the discussion today, please do take some time to read into the disclaimer below. Now, let me just first plot all the four stages, and visually I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing here, and I'm seeing here as a greed stage. Gonna text this out, and after that I'm seeing here as confusion. There we're seeing a huge range, and this is what I'm seeing here as it kind of die on, there's this sell on fear. And then there was a period of hopelessness. And before this cycle, there was a last cycle, there was a period of hopelessness as well. Now let me just explore the different stages on greed. It came from the last cycle, and then the market, how to recognize the greed. It was that from 10,000, it took a very short period of time, just a few months or maybe a couple of years, it multiplied by folds. And we could see that from 10,000 points, about there, it went up to above 60,000, coming close to about 70,000. And that's many folds return. And we could see that the gradient of this climb is especially steep as well. And the market psychology is this. I think we have the same or similar experiences, that we have friends that we met. Suddenly, they became an expert in cryptocurrency investment. And they advocate myself, who is quite savvy investor or traders, that I should get into crypto. So this is market has been hyped up. Most of the mass market will involve back then during this greed stage. Now, how to recognize a confusion stage is that we could see that the market reached its peak, and it may break the previous peak, but overall we could see that the market enter into a huge range. Now, when the market enter into a huge range, it means that the market are confused. They do not have an idea of, is it going to be a continuous bull or maybe as peak coming down. But I would say that back during this period, we saw a double top, and especially this inverted hammer. And it was during our weekly case study, we spoke about it, and that was during a period of, in October 2021, we spotted this inverted hammer. And there was a good point reference of discussion back then. I asked the rest of the members that do you see any reversal signal that you have identified at the close of that week, and at what stage they think that Bitcoin was at during that point, October 2021. So that was our discussion, and able to recognize the stages, it do help us to receive some red flag about potential danger. And of course, how to recognize the fear is that as the market moved down, we could see a lot of gaps. This is one little gap here. There were this, obviously a gap, and there was a gap. And as it progressed to come to a point of when the fear subside, you will enter to a point of hopelessness. Hopelessness is something like this. The market completely lost interest and is trading in a very tight range. And we saw Bitcoin that's entered a short period of hopelessness. And what we're seeing here is that the Bitcoin is the top currency among all the cryptocurrencies. With this little surge that we're seeing here, there's interest. Now, could this be the beginning of a new cycle? Now, in between the bull and bear cycle transition, we should be able to see the bear progression into the bull progression. Provided the market, the stocks, or the industry, it is still a growing industry. It is still a growing company. It is still a growing market. Now, but if you look down the ranking of all the cryptocurrencies, maybe there are a few thousands of them. Now, except for Bitcoin and just a few others that we saw a little surge here, the rest of the maybe hundreds or thousands of other cryptocurrencies are still very much lying very flattish, like what we're seeing here. Now, this is what I call the hopelessness stage. Now, you try to apply this bull to bear transition with good market sense, because some of the bears went into hibernation, not able to wake up at all. For example, the recent collapse of some relatively large banks worth at least 100 billion US dollars. Now, able to recognize at what stage the market is at any particular point helps me to determine whether to take on the market with some risk or not at all. I've included some information and its links in trading and hedging into different types of Bitcoin futures. Always enjoy studying the correlation between the markets and to uncover potential opportunities. And I hope today's sharing, it will be helpful in how we invest and trade. Feel free to leave any comments below. I love to exchange ideas with you. Really happy you have stayed through this tutorial. You have many great trading weeks ahead.